Hi there. Welcome to a new episode of Branding with Friends, the show where branding meets key business topics. Here you're going to learn tips straight from the experts on everything from writing a book to strategic marketing to delegating the details. We focus on what you can do right now to use these topics, plus the power of branding to attract your ideal clients. I'm your host, branding expert Annie Franceschi of Greatest Story Creative. I help service business owners tell their story and show their value through clear messaging and consistent branding. I'm also a former Disney storyteller, professional speaker, and the author of two best-selling books, Establish Yourself and Permission to Try. And today I am so excited to introduce you to one of my new friends in the business world. If you have been struggling to work on your business instead of in it all the time, you are going to love what we are talking about today. My guest today is the amazing Ashley Kang. Thank you so much for joining us, Ashley.
I am super, super pumped to be here.
Yes. And if you don't know Ashley, she is a business strategist, coach, and CEO of AHK Business Management. She teaches coaches and service providers to integrate simple systems and CEO days into their businesses so they can regain time and clarity to move the needle in what they do. Ashley is passionate about all things systems, organization, and building consistency. Ashley worked in both the private and public sectors before founding her practice now. She describes herself as the quintessential problem solver and strategy-minded planner. Originally a Boston native, she now lives in Chicago in the suburbs where she's always on the hunt for the best fish tacos. All right, where are the best fish tacos
There's this great little hole
so
in the wall
far?
place called
Yeah.
Taco Nano. It is my favorite. It's like still like a 20-minute drive for me, but I will make the hike. It is the best.
Yes. Well, and I didn't even think I liked fish tacos until I'm here in the Raleigh-Durham area, and I would say
Okay.
Kokuyu. There's a restaurant
Mm,
called Kokuyu, and they make the most amazing shrimp tacos that took me, I
mm.
don't even like shrimp tacos, and they're like some of my favorite tacos in the universe. So glad you brought that up. Important for our conversation today.
Yes.
Not really, but sort of.
Yes.
Today I brought Ashley on because I, as many of you know, do a batch December. It's actually November right now. You'll be watching this in January, but it's November, and that's why I have a cold from my toddler. And I am about to embark on my 7th batch December, where I take an entire month to work on my business instead of in it and take some time for myself. So to reset and to go on vacations with my family and that sort of thing. And Ashley, we met because she was talking about her zone of genius, which is CEO days. So Ashley, tell
Mhm.
us, what is a CEO day?
Well, I love this opening question. Everybody's like, what is it? What is it? What is it actually? And simply put, a CEO day is a weekly block of time. I say minimum of 3 hours, a whole day if you can, that you set aside to work on your business. You push pause on all of the client work that's going on, all of the things on your to-do list that have to do with delivering your services or your product. And you take that to really recenter yourself, get your bearings, plan and prepare to be the business owner, to be the CEO of your business. And, there's people who will ask, well, I'm a solopreneur or I only have a VA. Like, I don't really consider myself a CEO. Like, is a CEO day for me? And my immediate response is you are a CEO because you have built your business from the ground up. CEO is a mindset. I don't think it's natural. It's not associated with team or how many figures you're bringing in, but it is a kind of state of being. It's a role that you should be proud of. And if you want to grow and innovate your business, you need that time, because when you are in the service delivery mode, you're looking down, you are in the present. And being the CEO means you are not just in the present, but looking towards the future and learning from the past.
Yeah, I think that's really great. And I think it's less about, like you said, kind of embracing that you're like a chief executive officer. Maybe people don't
Mm,
identify that way, but I call them batch days. I'm having you on, especially with the CEO day. Today you're going to be sharing 3 tips, and we'll share our third
mm,
one at the end as we always do. But these sort of 3 angles in how we can structure our time in a CEO day. So I feel like
mhm,
you've kind of taken what I was already doing kind of organically, and given it
mhm.
some real shape and some direction. Because I'm hearing that from
Yeah.
people who are going, well, how do you do this? And I'm like, well, I don't
Yeah.
know. I just kind of have done it. And
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, how you said just briefly before we started recording that you were doing this yourself and then you started offering it. So how long were you doing it before, and kind of what was the genesis into formalizing it? Because that's similarly been my experience of, I've been doing this for almost 7 years, and people start
Yeah.
asking, you start teaching it, right?
Yeah. So little context. I started as a OBM in the online business world, and then I moved into more business coaching and strategy and creating strategic action plans with clients. And I've been doing that for a while, but even from the beginning of when I started my business, I would take some time each week to like plan out what I needed to get done. What were the results from the previous week, and kind of reorient myself. And I was starting to do that. And then I found out because CEO days are not a term that I coined. Somebody else brilliant came up with that. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So then I was like, okay, my weekly CEO day, working with clients. And then I was starting to realize my clients and I could create the best strategy for them, the best action plan, the best marketing focus map. Then it was like, how do you actually like go and implement
Do
it?
it.
How do you
Yeah.
manage the time? Like, what if you need to tweak things? And I was like, well, I've been using my CEO day. And they're like, what's that? And then it kind of just snowballed
Organic.
from
Yeah.
there. And now it's it's my primary offer at the moment of coaching people to build out a CEO day that they can easily apply and utilize every week, so that they can get all this other stuff done. Because CEO days are not the same thing as admin days, and
Right.
so
It's
there's
like a masterful productivity hack, I think,
oh
for
yes,
coaches and consultants and
huge.
service business owners. It has been game changing for me. I write about it in my new book, Establish Yourself.
Mm,
It was the thing that turned the tide for me, honestly, the
yeah,
taking, and I essentially took a month of CEO days the first
yeah.
time. And it was eye opening. And I think it is just so valuable. So I'm glad that you've come along with us, and you're going to share what I haven't shared today, which is sort of strategies for how to break down that time.
Mm,
So you can hold, if you're listening, you can hold in mind, do you do this once a week? Ashley teaches that as a best practice.
mhm,
I've pushed back. Some people can't do that. I've had people do batch weeks every quarter, and so they get a month that way. You'll
mhm.
find the thing that works for you, but keeping in mind that you have this bucket of time in which to be the CEO of your business. What is that first bucket that is really important
Yeah.
when we structure our CEO time?
So the first bucket is reflect. And I think in the reflect bucket, this is why I say CEO days should be once a week, like one of the
Mm,
primary reasons, because when you are reflecting, you are checking in with both yourself and the business. So and especially when it comes to checking in with the business, you need to do that every week. It's like checking on your baby, right? You need to have
you have to
frequent.
check on your toddler at least once a week. I think
Exactly,
so.
right? But
Every second or so.
so it's like you need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a launch mode, if you are doing a special promotion, if if life is busy, like generally speaking, you're just in a busy growth season, you have to like push pause and be like, what's going on? What are the numbers? Am I hitting my revenue markers? Am I hitting my, social media or marketing engagement goals that I have set? Because if not, you have to be able to collect that data in order to adjust and course correct for the future. You can't make good decisions if you don't have the information, right? It's like when
It's
we
the
go,
awareness.
yes,
Yeah.
you go searching for the best sale, you got to price check, right? Across different companies, different stores. Same idea. So during the reflect phase of your CEO day, you're checking on the business in that respect. And then you're also reflecting on how you, as the CEO, as the business owner, are doing, because we all know this. Our businesses are a huge part of us and our life. And we need to know, like, where's my energy at? Where's my headspace at? What's going on? And I think this is a part that we don't honor as much as we should be. I think for people who are coming out of a corporate world job, we don't
Yeah.
necessarily check in with ourselves. So something that I do, I practice weekly and I set up for my clients is a CEO check-in form. It's a form that I have
Oh,
automated. It pops up in my inbox every Monday morning, which is when I do my CEO day, pops in there, at 5 a.m. So when I sit down for my CEO day, it is right there at the top of my inbox. Same set of questions for myself that I can answer, look back on later. It's almost like a journal in some ways.
mhm.
Um, so I have a touch point for myself because, we all track hopefully everybody's tracking their numbers and other stuff.
Well, that's something
Hopefully.
that I talk a lot about. And so
Yeah.
I talk about it in the book, and I teach it constantly with coaching clients that my number one profitability tip. I hope
Mm,
someone's saying, like, I know what she's going to say. What I'm going to always say time and time again is your time. When you are a
yeah.
service-based business owner, you need to know where your time's going. Dave Ramsey, controversial figure in a lot of ways, but he says, like, if you
Mm,
don't know where your um money goes, you'll wonder where it went. Like, if you don't know where your
right.
money's going, like, it's going to disappear, right? Same
Right.
thing with your time. If you don't know where your time's going, you'll wonder where it went. And your
Exactly.
time is your money. And so biggest tip I give is please track your time in everything you do in your
Mm,
business, and you will start to really think about your business differently, even if you are not a strategic person by
yep.
nature. And
Yep.
there's a free tool called Toggle, Toggl.
Yep.
And I love it for this because it helps you, I think, in this step that you're talking about with reflect, that it is the awareness is what am
Mm-hmm.
I doing? When you start to realize, oh my gosh, I spent 10 hours on that project and I'm getting paid what? Like,
Yep.
I need to change my scope around. I need to, this is
Yeah.
more valuable than I've been positioning it, right? Like, some of
Right.
these insights that we can only get that way, but it's for a free
Mm-hmm.
action, it is revolutionary.
I mean, time and the other thing that you mentioned, money too. Reflect is also where you, especially if you're a high traffic business as far as money going in and out, if you're a
Yep.
product-based business too, like you need to know those things. And that's where sitting down, looking over your numbers, even if it's all automated, even if you have a bookkeeper, like just checking in, being like, all right,
Yeah.
how we doing here? Um,
We're
it
going to have a guest this is going to go really well
yeah.
with, guys. So Ashley is going to be here in our January episode. And in a future episode, we're having an expert come on, another Ashley, who teaches about
Mm,
Airtable, and how you can do like a sales
Ashley
hub where,
Pendergraph.
yeah, Ashley.
Yes, I love
So
her.
we just did her interview. So that'll debut, I believe, in March, but don't hold me to these months, guys. I don't even know what future we're living in when you're listening to this, but it's evergreen content, people.
Yep.
But there are ways to automate a lot of this. So we'll be talking
Yes.
about that in future branding with friends. So I'm really glad you brought that up. But this step is I love that you're saying reflect on the business metrics, but also on how you're doing as a
Mhm.
person.
Yeah, yeah. It's huge. And um it's something that, you know, we as business owners, once we start doing it, we're like, oh, this is really great. So if you're somebody who hasn't like done it or it feels like intimidated by it, like like one or pick a couple, like two business metrics that you want to track that will like give you a good sense of what's going on in your business, whether it's money or social media or time. And then also pick a couple things that you want to keep track of for yourself, whether it's like how much water am I drinking in a day, how many hours of sleep, or how many appointments have I been cramming into my schedule this week. Pick a couple different metrics to follow, start there, and then you can build. Don't make it crazy.
That is so like deceptively simple and powerful. And I want to share a story to bring that to life and share with
Yeah.
you that I am very flawed, and constantly learning myself. So if I were doing this, I have a no meeting Monday. I haven't thought about
Mm,
it like a CEO day. I'm going to
yeah.
take that away. And I'm hoping by that time this episode airs, guys, I'm going to be a CEO day pro, with structuring my days, because one of the big metrics in my business is free consultations. If I talk to enough people that are really good fit for what I do, I have a great year. And
Mm-hmm.
if I had been tracking that weekly, I would have noticed that there was a very large dip over the summer where things got really quiet. And it took me months to kind of feel that organically
Mm,
versus checking in weekly.
mm-hmm.
And what had happened, what I realized happened and what diagnosed the problem was I had so much time blocked between vacations and I had gotten sick and some
Mm,
other things. I had some settings in my Acuity calendar where you can see my calendar to set a free
yep.
consult. Check it out at greateststorycreative.com. But basically, like, it was not showing any times available for like 2 or 3 weeks. So my consults were way down because I looked like I wasn't around. Nobody
Right.
wanted to wait 2 to 3 weeks. And so I made
Right.
a few changes because there was a setting in Acuity that was hiding times that were available. Like
Yeah.
it's called
Yeah.
minimize gaps. So look
Yeah.
for this. Once I unchecked that, wouldn't you know it, I went back up to my predictable number of consults every week. Like it was wild. I was like, oh, I really torpedoed myself this summer. And I use that as example one, that you can be the expert and be vulnerable and still make
Mm-hmm.
silly mistakes. So this a CEO day
Mm-hmm.
actually can help save you money,
Yeah.
grow your business, keep you consistent.
Yes.
But all that to say, I've also just had my best financial year ever. So you can make big mistakes like that. And if you have
Yeah.
consistency and systems and you are working on your business, that you have enough going for your business, that
Right.
maybe a big mistake like that, if all you relied on were those consults, like I would be screwed up, right? But
Yeah.
instead, I'm still in good shape. Could I have made more? Probably, but
Sure.
like I learned, it was a
Yeah.
learning opportunity. But I think it's
And
a perfect illustration of why this is so important.
that's what this kind of brings me back to my original point of doing this weekly. When you build in small, consistent habits on a regular basis, you get faster with it
Yeah.
too. Like for me, and this is what I do with clients, we create a CEO day checklist or CEO day plan. And literally it's the first thing you open on your CEO day, and you can just go boom, boom, boom. You know exactly what needs to happen. You can do it quickly. Like for me, reviewing all my metrics, it takes me like 15 minutes tops because I have everything linked in. I know what I need to look for, and I'm doing it every week. So I know I already kind of know what's already happened. So another reason why weekly CEO days are the best.
We're
So
just sitting
maybe,
here being like, aren't they awesome? They're so awesome. We should do them. We totally should do them. I love it. I love it. And also you should know that Ashley and I had not spoken until like 5 minutes ago. So now we are CEO besties, CEO day besties. So
yeah,
the first thing we should do, Ashley, is this one way we
reflect.
can structure our CEO time. And I think you are advocating for all three today, right? So the first
Yes.
piece is reflect. What is
Yes.
that second R that we should
Yeah.
attempt to do?
The second piece is renew. And this is where it can be a bit of a choose your own adventure, where you do not need to hit every single tick mark of what I'm about to say, but these are the kinds of things that you should incorporate one or two of these things each week during your weekly CEO day. And by renew, I mean things that bring some life and energy back into your business, right? For marathon runners, they do all the training and they start going on the race, but they stop for water and those like fun little Gatorade gel beads and like all of that along the way to give them a power up boost, right? To keep going. It's the same idea of renew activities. What are the things that are going to recharge your battery, both on a professional level and also as like on a personal level? So professional development. Let's say you have been enrolled in a course or a program and you just like haven't had consistent time to go through the material
Yeah.
during the week. You could set aside part of your CEO day to like actually go through the material and implement it, because that's always the problem when we go through
Right. It's
programs.
the action step. That's why
Yes.
it really helped me. The same, we were just talking about earlier, like I got into all this because I remember being on a beach trip. And we were, instead of going out to the beach and having lunch with friends, I remember hovering in this like little chair, updating
Yeah.
my graphic design portfolio. And my
Yeah.
friend gets so mad at me and is like, Annie, like we're on vacation. It's like New Year's week. Like, let's go do something.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
but I never have time to do this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm being a jerk because I can have a CEO day. I can have multiple to do this. I can make the
Yeah.
time. And so
Yeah.
I love that you bringing this all home with renewal. And what are those things that we can just never get to, like updating our portfolio or
Yeah. And
these forgotten tasks, right?
And like the beauty of the CEO days that you have protected time set aside every week to do that. And that's a huge thing, right? It's just blocking the time off, and calling it a CEO day activity means you're placing some importance and emphasis on it. And it's not just to the professional development things you can do during that period of time. Part of renewing and recharging for your business also means networking. Maybe it's writing an email off to your referral partners once a month. Maybe it's getting on some coffee chats or scheduling coffee chats, right? And then the other side of renew activities that I coach people on is you should do some like self-care, something nice for yourself. Whether it's going to work at a coffee shop, or I have some clients who once a month, part of their CEO day, like the latter half of their CEO day, is they go get a massage.
I think a
Like,
lot of people are going to love that
do what
idea.
you want.
Spot
Like, but
on. Yeah.
you can really use
Take a
it.
nap, like go to lunch,
Yes.
take care, renew yourself. I think that
Yes.
is
Yeah.
so mission critical.
But again, you don't have to do all of those things. You just, intentionally have time set aside to do those things that would bring you the most renewal.
Right. That's so unique and individual to you, is like what brings you that renewal piece. I think we might have had a frozen moment. Sorry, we had a little bit of a frozen moment. You still there, Ashley?
Yeah. Yes, I'm here now.
Okay, great. Well, Frozen's good for the Walt Disney Company. We'll be just fine for us. Yes. So renew. So we've talked about reflect and renew, and we're going to do the last R in just a minute. But I know that people are going to be so curious about how to connect more with you. And I know you've brought something along, a freebie, if people want to learn more about you. So what is that thing that would help them take the next step with CEO days?
Yeah, I have my weekly email series. It's called Becoming the CEO. And you get an email in your inbox every Monday, and just talking about different things about CEO days, simple systems, what it means to be the CEO, action planning, all sorts of stuff that helps you manage your time in your business. And when you opt in for that, you automatically will get a like mini series of emails that has my CEO Days 101 training, which we're talking a lot about that stuff right now. But there's a short video and a bunch of emails that breaks this down a little bit more. If you are into the listen and read, and then go do something, I'm always about backing up,
so that you've got the whole
action.
strategy, that there is no excuse to not get started. If you're curious about a CEO day, there's going to be ways into this world.
It's to kickstart the DIY process. I do think DIYing the perfect CEO day is a little hard. Some people want to just skip the whole DIY process, and those are the people I work with.
Absolutely.
But people who are like, I just want to experiment before I commit, this is like the dip your toe into the water solution.
Well, I think this is a really great way, and I can't wait to sign up just so I continue to stay in Ashley's world. So I will be doing that as soon as I log out today. And it's actually the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So it's I'm going to spend the afternoon doing some renewal and all of those. It all looks different for different people. Like for me, my renewal is I don't take, I have no meeting Mondays, which I did to finish my book, but I just liked them so much I continued, and it was nice because I do so many meetings, just have that dedicated day to use for whatever I need. Yesterday I did some work, sure, but yesterday was Monday. My dad was able to come up on short notice, and we went to a Duke basketball game, which we'd never done together. It was just like, but I had the day free because it's protected, right? It's this protected time. So reflect, renew. What is that third thing we should keep in mind? We're having another frozen moment today. This is technology for us. I'm sure Ashley will come back in just a second. Ashley, maybe she'll come in and out. Hello, hello. She looks good. At least it's not too bad a screenshot, right? We will probably edit this out. Hi.
So I hopped onto a hotspot because I think that might be me.
Okay. No worries. We probably are going to have some virtual assistant stuff. So anyway, so we were just saying, we're talking about our tips for today were to reflect, to renew. And what is that third thing, that third R?
It's maybe my favorite. It's reset, which can mean a variety of things, of basically planning ahead for your next week. And if you're somebody who does like quarterly planning, monthly planning, this is when you could do those things. It actually makes it easier to stay on top of any of the strategic goals, strategic planning that you are trying to get done. But it also means you are planning and managing your time well for the rest of the week. Because I think oftentimes for business owners, we think we don't have enough time. I think that's a lie. I think we have time, we just don't use it well, or we don't know how to use it well. And that's where part of what I do with clients when we set up their CEO days, I make them do a time audit of their week and be like, okay, what are you actually doing with your time? Where are you spending it? And oh, like you have all of your meetings like kind of spread out, or do you have specific times of the week where you just have it blocked off for calls? So, mentally it's easier to know that, okay, I only do sales calls on like Tuesday afternoon. So your brain is already in that headspace, or I block off Wednesdays to do VIP days, that kind of thing. And so you're managing your time better, your task batching, your time blocking, day theming, whatever, and making sure that you have time set aside to do the things that need to get done for your business, things that are in your strategic plan, things that are in your action plan, whatever needs to happen to help you move the needle in your business and not just serve your clients. Because again, there's more to running a business than just service delivery, right?
I think that that's a real big difference in mindset of where you started too, is like, if you just serve your clients, you're really more of a freelancer. Like,
Yeah.
you're like an employee and you have all these
Mhm.
bosses. But when you take hold of the reins, when you make the decisions, when you step into CEO mindset, even if you don't love that title, it's so
Mhm.
different, right? It's game
Yeah.
changing. It's taking the permission back and saying, part of the reason that maybe you left a job or corporate America was to run your business the way you want to do it. And I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest things I tell people when they are curious about how do I take a month off and do batch December is
Mhm.
you just do it. A
Yeah.
lot of it is the permission you give yourself to say,
Yes.
the extra business I would get is not as important as this,
Mhm.
that doing this actually gets me more business, and a business,
Right.
not to mention that I love doing, that
Mhm.
renewal. It's all so on point. I feel like I've been dancing around this organically, and you have been so brilliant as to give it some shape, and a structure. And as as you've shared today, that you do this custom consulting on people when they really need that clarity. And I heard you just say in this reset step, the time piece again of like, where is your time going? And are you using
Mhm.
it as best you can? That data that you have from reflection is going to help you. The renewal piece will help you know
Mhm.
what you need to be doing. And I love the reset, that it's your favorite, that it's about kind of moving the shells around, like what
Yeah.
can you do to be smarter each week and I just can't say enough. I feel like you and I are part of a growing culture, thankfully, of people who are saying, throwing a blanket on top of the hustle culture and saying, you can
Mhm.
have a successful business that doesn't make you work all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, it's kind of the recipe to have that if you work smarter. It's not about
Yes.
harder anymore, and it never
Right.
needed to be. Harder's a badge of honor that nobody wants to wear anymore. Like, but everybody thinks they have to.
Right. Well, and I think that's the thing. I mean, you and I were both in corporate world jobs before we started our businesses. And, we were working, 9 to 5 jobs, 5 days a week, all the time. And now as a business owner, I don't do any client facing stuff on Mondays because it's my CEO day. And I take every Friday off because I hang out with my bonus niece. She's this adorable little toddler. I don't want to miss a second of that. And so I technically only actually do client related work Tuesday through Thursday.
Yeah.
And it is, so great because then it opens me up for
But
other
you are
opportunities.
financially meeting your goals, right?
Yeah.
Like
And
like
yeah,
you have a profitable practice while
right.
you are running your life. That's the people think they have to choose between the two, but it's the fulfillment. And like, I've been on
Yeah.
podcasts and I've said recently, it's like I'm semi-retired. Like, I'm
Yeah.
living the life that you kind of save for retirement, where you are
Mm-hmm.
available to your friends and family, you are available to yourself, you have enough rest to be able to do the work that you love, and like, you're
Yep.
not waiting until you're 65 to like feel that happiness.
And it also gives you the time and space for other professional opportunities too, right? Like, I mean, I'll be upfront. I don't have a partner. I don't have children. I don't have pets. I really am like a free agent. So I can kind of do whatever I want with my time.
Live that
But
life. Yeah.
over the summer, I got to do this kind of 1 month long consulting gig, and I put in a lot of time. And I only worked in my business for the month of, I think it was month of August. I only was actually in my own business, AHK Business Management, for 12 hours the whole month. And it was my CEO day because everything else could run on autopilot. But then it allowed me to go do this other thing that was really cool. I mean, yeah, it brought in a good paycheck, but also like I could do it. I had that
It's the
option.
freedom.
Yes,
When
it
you
is
build
freedom.
this innovation into your business and you
Mhm.
prioritize taking good care of yourself as a leader of your business,
Yeah.
worlds open up to you, freedom and flexibility. You can reflect and renew and reset
Mhm.
and have a CEO day. That's Ashley and I are going to hold you accountable. If you're curious, you have no excuse not to do it here here in this new
Yeah.
year when you were hearing this message. So we want to hear how your
Mhm.
CEO days go. Anything else that you feel like is really important, Ashley, as we're wrapping things up today?
I think don't be intimidated by it. You just try doing it, set aside if you're like a whole day, I can't do that. You just start with a couple hours. Then you can
Yeah.
keep adding on. Like, don't let I think the kind of colossal step that it might feel like throw you off. And obviously both Annie and I would like love to chat with you about these kinds of things. So like there are other people who will like walk you through it and cheer you on along the way. This is definitely not something that, it's an isolated
Be
thing
part of
that
the
is
movement.
yours.
Free
Yes.
yourself. CEO days, batch days. One day, maybe you'll take a whole month of CEO days, AKA batch
Yes.
December. But thank you, Ashley, for sharing your zone of genius with us
Yeah.
today.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we hope that you enjoyed yet another episode of Branding with Friends. So many thanks to my special guest, Ashley Kang. I hope you'll tune in next time when we're going to tackle another topic where branding and business meet. Until then, I'm Annie Franceschi. You can find all of our episodes, branding resources, and my consult calendar, which has more times on it now, at greateststorycreative.com. Thanks so much. Stay awesome.